Hey, hi, Hari, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing good, sir. Awesome.
So it's exciting to be meeting and talking about keys
Absolutely.
and the journey of keys because now we have something substantial to talk about.
Right.
And so it makes a lot of sense to discuss what keys journey has been so far. What do you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dilip. And good evening to everyone who's joined us on Facebook Live. And it is such a pleasure to be always talking about keys. And it's been a great journey. I think, and along with me is Dilip Sharma, who's an integral part of the keys journey. And he has added so much value to this product and continues to add value to this product every day. So Dilip, I just thought maybe we should give our audience a little sense of how this whole journey started. Then you'll keep picking up the threads as we go along, and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
bring in our dimensions to it. Uh,
Definitely.
I think 2021 is when I just sat down one day and just opened my laptop. And as you know, I have this crazy habit of trying to do something new all the time. And I just started writing down the basic framework and just started making some notes around know your energy wiring system. So when I looked at the word wiring, it said WIRING. I said, oh, this is not getting me the acronym. So very smartly changed it to capital Y hyphen R. So it suddenly became keys, know your energy wiring system. So it suddenly became keys. And today, keys is so much a part of our life. It's so much a part of our lingo in all our discussions that we have with our team members, with organizations. It's really fantastic. So in 2021, we started working on this. We started working on this concept, and then I remember that I gathered a few of our other colleagues, and we did a little orientation session on this is what keys is all about. This is what a creator, builder, participator, influencer is all about. And everybody said, yeah, it's a very interesting concept. But then we started to realize it's not just enough to give a concept. It's something new, yes, something interesting, but it's unique, but it doesn't have a measurement. So how do you put a kind of a measurement into it? And I think that's when we started discussing, can we create some tool around it? So I really want you to share with everybody, how did this tool come about? Because I think now the most defining thing about keys is the assessment. It's the
Absolutely.
tool. So how did this tool come about in your mind?
So while we were discussing keys, and it is a great concept, the point is, how will somebody value the concept?
Yeah.
And for somebody to value the concept, one has to realize what it brings to them and what change can it bring about in their lives. Now, to understand what change it will bring about, I need a measure as to
Right.
where am I today and where would I be tomorrow, and have I done any progress on it. So that's where the thought of the tool came into my mind. And then the other thought that came along with it was, there are a number of assessments in the market.
Absolutely.
And quite a lot of them. And like something that we always discuss when we talked about keys is that keys is not psychometric.
Absolutely.
Neither is keys something that is going to categorize people as you are this or you are that. So it basically tells us what is the frame of your energies right now.
Right.
How much of the energies you've been able to tap into and how much potential exists, or have you tapped overly before time into something. And that was a wonderful journey that started after the tool was created. And therefore we thought, okay, let's create the tool a little differently. Let's have a different measure to the tool. And that's where I think inputs from our friend, Mr. Sachdeva, Ajay.
Yes, absolutely. And what is interesting about Ajay is he himself is a coach.
Absolutely.
And a very seasoned coach. I mean, it's not that, just became a recent coach or anything. He's a very, very seasoned L&D professional, learning and development professional. And he was heading a training department of an organization. of a very reputed company. And he was so fascinated when I think he was the first sample case, maybe, of somebody for whom we made a report. The initial first few reports that we did. And even today, he tells me, boss, you ignited that creator energy in me. We have some fun conversations around that. And
Yeah, the value part of it was one, that he understands assessments, has done enough of them,
right.
and his pedigree that gives him the authority to talk about assessments and to comment on assessments. And with someone like him getting into the assessment himself
Yeah,
and validating it, that
absolutely.
this is something that he hasn't experienced in any other assessment so far.
Yes,
That was, I think, what punched us to move forward and do more in it. Yes, we then change the manner in which the assessment is delivered. Of course, the statements remain the same, the questions remain the same. It's just that most interesting point of it was the gradation, or
yeah,
the
yeah,
value that we put to the responses, which is from a 0 to 5 rather than a 1 to 5 sort of a.
absolutely, absolutely.
And more importantly, the statements that go along with the grading, where
Correct.
that is something that hits at a person on the face. And because when we are
Absolutely.
talking about the energy, we need to make one sit up and look up at it. And I think somewhere that makes a lot of difference. So we were, of course, discussing on it, whether it makes sense to write something as strong as what we are writing.
Yeah.
But then that is what we were looking at.
And you use this word validation. And I have been in my various social media posts trying to somewhere, kind of play around with this word, not really play around, but validate our lack of validation. So, and what is commonly understood is validation means some body has to authorize it, or it has to say this has been tested here, so it is a workable model, so on and so forth. But what I realized, and I think we both realized, I think along the way, is if it resonates with people who take the assessment, and many people, while going through the assessment, while we were sharing the report with them, said, yeah, this is me. It was like a aha moment for them. Oh, yes, this is me. And I validated, you are right. So I don't think we need any external validation. I think the most, maybe from a market positioning point of view, maybe somewhere down the line, we can look at that. But I think the core is suppose I get an external validation, but the person does not feel it resonates with him.
See, there are two.
For me, that would be a disaster.
There are two very typical aspects to keys that has come out now. One, that it is not something that can be automated easily.
Yes.
And requires a lot of individual attention to the report that is generated. And that, is a differentiator.
I think it's a very bold decision also.
And when that is a differentiator, see, it's like, are you okay with press 1, press 2, press 3 kind of a response when you get into a service call? Or would you want someone human talk to you and understand you properly?
Absolutely.
Get a feeling of you. And this assessment does exactly the same, gets to the human aspect of things.
Correct.
Which a machine would probably get into sometime later, but it will require a lot of human intervention for that again. And therefore, that is one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it, empirical data doesn't really matter, because empirical data matters where we are talking about averages. And we are not talking about averaging out responses here. We are talking about,
because it's not a scale.
We are talking about specific impact to the individual, creating that impact. And it really is a great pleasure when we look at the testimonials that we receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that comes from the heart, direct dil se.
Directly dil se. And I think the whole process of report making, which we are doing manually right now, and which is what we intend to keep it that way, unless we can crack the code with technology where it can tell us exactly what a trained keys assessor will be able to tell. So one other important element that I want to highlight for the benefit of our audience is this word called undercurrents. And I think I find it extremely fascinating when people tell us, how did you find this out? Because your statements, which are not even on a scale of 0 to 5, they are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's it. They are absolute numbers. Every number has an absolute value and a meaning to it. It's not a scale. So it's not about getting low scores, high scores, nothing of that nature. So capturing those undercurrents has been the most fascinating aspect for me personally, and unearthing what is not explicitly communicated by the person who's taking the assessment. I think I find it very fascinating with keys.
So, Hari, when you talk about undercurrents, and when we talk about unearthing those specific feelings or nuances of
Yes.
one's challenges in life or struggles in life that come out, and they are always surprising to us as well. And many a times when we have done these reports, you remember we have tried to discuss within ourselves, should we actually put it there?
Correct.
Right? Because it would be something like a reading of a horoscope or things like that. And it would come out so very it would be a surprise as to how can this come out from.
In fact, Dilip, I must say that one of our will not name the person, of course, but there is a common friend we have, and he has been telling me that you should link this in some way to a horoscope. So it's very, very interesting.
So again, the underlying thought behind it is regarding energies.
Yes.
And energies, as we know, and since I come from an aviation background, and I tend to look understand things in that perspective.
Yeah.
So you know the turbulence that happens when we fly.
Yes.
Right. Those are the undercurrents.
Absolutely.
If everything was
so
smooth
beautifully
and fine, it would be a plain flight. But it is those turbulent moments or those air pockets.
Yes.
Is where every flyer, including the pilot for that matter, including the crew, are made aware of their presence as to where they are.
Absolutely.
Right. So now, if I am aware of where I am, is when I would be most in the moment and do things more effectively.
Correct.
And if we can do that through keys, I think it's a wonderful thing. And every report that we discuss, and that's another part. We have to discuss the report and the neutrality of the report, where we don't box people as something and we tell them, okay,
absolutely. This is no typecasting.
That's I mean, as we move forward in this journey, the manner in which the reports are creating a ruffle in everybody's life, and the most settled ones too, for that matter, is something very invigorating, and it gives you that purpose to go forward and do that much more of it, especially if it is going to make a very positive change to individuals' lives.
Absolutely. And in many ways, Dilip, it's a dream come true for us, because we wanted to come up with an assessment which is very Indian in its outlook, very Oriental in its outlook, because we're so used to being drilled down with Western assessments, and I'm no quarrel with that. I've personally benefited a lot from those assessments, and it's somewhere, that has inspired me to go beyond. But the Indian, so we do a lot of these assessments which are a cultural misfit. They may still resonate. I'm sure they're resonating at a personality level, at a professional level. But what about the cultural fit? And I think from a culture point of view, given the variety culture that we have in our country. And secondly, also that energy as a concept was born and researched in this land. And this is what I find so fascinating about living in India and being an Indian. We have a 5,000-year-old history, as a nation. And there is so much of energy and consciousness literature that is available through our epics, through our storytelling tradition, through our history. It's just incredible. And we both come from a background of energy, meditation, some rituals, practicing holistic healing. And I think so. Keys was not really created in 2021. And I think it's taken collectively, you and me, maybe 50, 60 years for us to actually come up with something like this. It's a life sadhana that somewhere it has translated into a product. And it's quite fascinating. And we use some amazing words in our we call it the keys language. Words like neutrality, words like manifestation, words like undercurrents. They are really fascinating, and yeah, I mean, we can go on and on. So it's a keys is a romance for us at this point of time. And another very important point which I want to make, and then you can take it up from there, is we never, as you said, we never mail the report to people. People have told us, okay, the assessment is done, please send me the report. I said, no. In my laptop, there is a folder called pending discussions on keys. It's been lying for weeks. They have not responded, so they never got the report. Because the report is never sent unless a dialogue happens first. It's a 20 to 30 minutes keys conversation that we do with that person. We share the report. Only then we mail the report, because our reports are worded very ambiguously. And the beauty is the clarity lies in that ambiguity. It's because it's ambiguous for the external person, it actually provides clarity, because we don't want to judge people. We only want to gauge people. We don't want to judge them.
Since we do not judge and we do not box them, therefore, the written report appears to be ambiguous.
Yeah.
But it is the discussion that gives it the clarity. And
Absolutely.
therefore, the discussion that we have over the reports are the crux of the entire report.
Absolutely.
And that is why I always believe that automating this report would be a big challenge, because this discussion is only humanly possible.
Yes.
And I'm not saying humanly possible.
Humanly.
Humanly possible.
Correct.
And that aspect of learning for a computer or for a machine, I think it's still a long way to go. Apart from that, the other aspect, the challenge that I feel at times is, and I think you would have noticed it as well when you were, making the reports. You need to be in the zone to be able to create the report.
Absolutely.
Just can't pick up the responses and create a report.
Correct.
For the sake of it.
You have to be in that frame.
That's where the energy aspect of it plays on, not just the one who has responded,
Yes.
not just in the report, but it is a continuous energy play even when the report is being constructed.
Absolutely.
Out of the responses. And how amazing is it that where one is lower the score, higher the manifestation is something that people get adapted to as we get the discussion going. But more importantly, the more one thinks that I have scored better, that much we find the contradictions and challenges within the energy interplay.
Absolutely.
And the way it brings out the as I would again refer to it as the turbulence in life. And that's really
I love this word, turbulence. I think that's what we capture through our undercurrents. And what is amazing is I don't have any such aviation kind of background. I was so bad in science in college, but I was very good with spirituality. So somewhere you bring in the combination of science and spirituality, and I bring in my own way of interpreting science and spirituality. But I think a very strong disclaimer here is that this is not a spiritual instrument. We don't want people to start feeling, oh, I need to be a spiritual practitioner to be able to understand keys. Not at all. Every person is spiritual. Every person has energy. And every person can connect with energy. It's got nothing to do with your spiritual practices or your background. It's got nothing to do with that. And I think this thing about not automating it and keeping it manual, I think somewhere we are answering the threat of AI in our lives by saying this is the way. Keys is one of the ways to stay relevant.
The other thing, Hari, that I would want to share here is, first of all, I would like to thank you for giving me that opportunity to construct the reports initially.
Yes, I learned from you.
And you relied and believed on me. That's very important, and that's where the interesting aspect of this is your thought. Totally your thought which got absorbed, and then developed. So who says it is not possible for two diverse minds to get together and work together?
Absolutely.
And this is that somewhere our reports, when we discussed, I think we got to know how, see, and you know what, when you see gears that mesh together in a watch to give us the right time, had they been plain circles, it would not have been possible. Think about it. It is those aberrations, those cuts which are there in between, which actually bring about the right time. So therefore, it's very wrongly conceived at times, like-minded people only can be doing things together, whereas it is not so. It is about getting that gear system right.
Yes,
and getting that gear system right is something that keys can help for organizations.
I think we found the common undercurrent somewhere, and we connected there. And we are seeing that a lot of people are slowly coming into the system, and we are slowly diversifying this into assessors, workshops, or into coaching systems. And I think for me personally, I've always wanted to be a coach, but somewhere on my own terms. And for that, we needed a product which we created. And so God has been very kind. Today, that conviction is there that keys can become a coaching model, though I don't like to use the word coaching. So I like to use the word conversations.
So the point, remember, we have been having this discussion on coaching, and I talk about not coaching, but engineering.
Engineering, not because the coach, but the engine. Yeah.
Because it is the engine that takes the coaches.
Absolutely. You have to
wherever
be the engine of your life.
So, and when I talk about those gears meshing together, now the point that I was trying to make is, in organizations, there are these different gears that have to be, meshing together synchronously so that the clockwork or the entire organization works like a clock.
Right.
Perfectly. Right. And there is where our product can be very helpful.
Absolutely.
So that is the point I was trying to make when I was talking about those gears. And I'm sure if you have a product, if you have a mechanism by which you can set right your gear systems, put the gears in the right place,
absolutely,
you can have a very, very productively functional system.
I think before we conclude, one beauty that I want to share with the audience about the keys report. It's only 6 pages. And most of them are bulleted points. They are not even long descriptions. And
it could very well be 2 pages.
Yeah, it could very well be 2 pages actually. And within that, we are able to highlight your key areas of strength, development areas, and recommended coaching and training journey, all within 5 to 6 crisp pages, which is why our AHA discussions are not more than 20 to 30 minutes. And it's amazing how in those 20 to 30 minutes, you can get so much clarity about your own life and the path that you have to take ahead from there on. And it's incredible. And what is also amazing, Dilip, is for both of us, the so-called creators of this concept, for us also, keys told us where we need to do better with ourselves.
Absolutely.
So we were the first people to take the assessment. We applied it on ourselves. And I realized, oh my God, this is where my gap is. This is what I need to work upon.
It also told us what not to do.
What not to do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's very important.
And it's not a success journey. It's a journey of fulfillment.
Brilliant.
That is what the essence and the philosophy of keys is. We're not helping you to become successful because you're all already successful in life, right? All of us are successful in our own ways and we can interpret it the way we want. And success is so relative, but fulfillment is absolute. I am successful in relation to somebody, or I'm a failure in relation to somebody. He got a century, I got a 50, so he is successful, I'm a failure. But if that 50 serves my purpose, I am a fulfilled guy. And that's what really matters in life. I may have scored a century, but it has not served my purpose. I am not fulfilled. So it's a fulfillment journey.
So it gives us a direction so that we get to a fulfillment of our life, not just success, because success by itself without fulfillment is hollow. And
Absolutely.
we fill up that hollow and thereby give a full life to people. And that's what
Absolutely.
makes it all the more interesting. So people can reach out to our the website, the hssc.com, as well as the links that will be shared in this discussion later on
Right.
on Facebook Live, and get to know what is their keys journey.
What is a keys journey? And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it does not take more than 15 minutes to do the assessment.
Shouldn't people?
That's something which people are worried about, whether it takes a long time. It actually just takes 15 minutes to do the assessment. And then we take a little while to make the report and then have a discussion with you. And so, Dilip, thank you so much for being with me on this discussion. And we have to thank Ravish for, taken the initiative and kind of organized this and pushed us into doing this FB Live. We both are so passionate about keys. We can go on and on talking about it, but we'll end it here. And we'll share the relevant links.
I think it is also necessary to thank all those associates like Juhi.
Absolutely.
Who have been in Niharika, who've been instrumental in egging us on and
yes,
supporting us with this thought. Ultimately, that led us to create this product, which we are so passionate about and proud about today.
And I think all the people who trusted us to undergo the assessment,
that's
very, and I think they are a massive, it's a growing population right now, and they are a massive impact for us.
And a rapidly growing.
And a rapidly growing population. I mean, I feel so incomplete if I'm not making a keys report every day. So I feel, arey, aaj keys report nahi banaya. So that's the kind of, and suddenly when I'm making the keys report, I feel energized. Because it's so amazing. I mean, I don't know how we have been always saying this. It's God's gift which has landed on our laps. It's for now us to ensure the world benefits from it.
So thank you, Hari, for getting me onto this journey as well, and believing on the directions that I thought it should be taking, and then we together took it on that path. So wonderful. Let's keep this going, and I'm sure the passion and the belief that we have in the product will definitely, along with our associates, help us to take it to different levels.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, Keys is an Indian product with a global relevance. That's the beauty. And somewhere it has given us a lifelong passion to work with and to spread the energy and to create meaning in people's lives. So thank you so much for being with us, and please share it with all your friends and your contacts so that the Keys energy can spread itself and make a difference to people. Thank you so much for being with us.